Learning, developmental and experiential. Everybody learns differently. Some people learn on web-based, some need a classroom environment, some need small meetings, some people need to read, some do it experientially, and I have to tell you, there's a whole lot of people that are different or like a variety. One of the challenges to the organization, you need to provide a little bit of each. You'll find out where people levitate to, what they like, and what they'll embrace, and then you need to make it available as best you can. We've also found that you need to break the organization down. One of the things that has allowed us to retain our staff and put ourselves into a position that they feel like they're in a small, close-knit group is we've created teams of about 7 or 8 people. Every organization or every part of the firm has small teams. And the whole purpose is not necessarily focused on work, it's on their personal development and the things that they do. And it really gives them kind of a place to feel at home. A big part of interpersonal relationships is understanding how it takes place. And what we've found is that it has as its foundation is being technically competent. Now that might mean if you're an accountant, being a good auditor, tax person, whatever it might be. If you're an engineer, having those technical base, or whatever it is you do, you're technically competent. On top of that, you have to bundle communication skills, the ability to share that technical information and put it into a position that you can use it with somebody else. Whether it be with another staff member, a client, or somebody that might refer you some work, what you're looking to do is to combine your technical skills with the communication that you've got and ultimately develop a relationship. What we found is that if I know something and I can communicate it and share it, it has value. Once I'm able to do that, people will come back and ask more questions or be engaged more. As that happens more, what ends up happening is my technical skill becomes less a hurdle rate to get into that relationship, and what happens is they're asking me questions about other unrelated items. Could be personnel related, it could be possible strategic thoughts, it could be any myriad of activities. It could even be about family, children, friends, the community. Relationships lead you to an individual that provides insight. Once you're in a position that you're providing insights, the more you do that, the more confidence they get. That ultimately leads to being a solution provider. Many organizations will stop at solution provider. We've found that if you're not with a particularly large company, one of the top 100 companies here or somebody like that, you really don't have a lot of people to talk to. And I would suspect a lot of the people you relate to are looking for somebody that can provide solutions. But they're also looking to somebody that they can talk to. That becomes an advisor. That advisory role is one that you probably reach in 1 out of 15, 20 relationships. It can be more, but it's unusual if it is. And the pinnacle of this entire activity is all about being a trusted advisor. Doesn't matter what the topic is, we use the term universal advisor. We don't begin to think we've got the answer to all the questions, but we know a lot of people and we can make connections and help you get to the people that do know those answers. People in general are pretty good at planning. They execute, they do. They check and review, and they particularly don't reflect. If you do the 3, I'm done, I'm going on to the next thing because I'm really a busy guy or gal, you miss a huge opportunity. And that reflection is really all about, did we do it right? How would we change it? What can we improve? How do we move forward? All in all, I think what you'll find, if you apply this to any interpersonal endeavor, developing your staff, working with customers or clients, working with third parties that might be helpful to your business, understanding that model and how it implements itself is particularly critical. Now, when you take a look at trying to have a successful organization, it's really important, in our opinion, to have performance management measures. And that's a way of evaluating everybody and identifying what competencies should you have, What qualities would we like you to have? What kind of results measures? And do you have individual goals? Create kind of an individual roadmap for each person to identify what's going on and what you expect of them. The more you tell me what you expect of me, the more likely I am to achieve it and to have that opportunity to be successful, and then celebrate it. And maybe you'll even come pat me on the back and tell me I did a good job. Real quickly, set goals, measure results, provide a reward, and repeat. The cycle can be monthly, semi-annually, annually, whatever works in your organization and whatever you need. The identification of how can I be successful addresses an awful lot of needs that people would have. One of the real challenges that we find people run into is they sometimes, this is a normal distribution curve you may remember from your old statistics days. This is a weak performer, kind of the average performer in the world, and the exceptional performer. Let's pretend we're going to learn to play tennis. So I've just started, so I'd be over here, the bottom rung over in here, and somebody says, you know, in order to be a really good tennis player, you should play with one of the pros. So I'm going to play with this guy over here. So I can just envision what a ball that's going to be. I'm going to go over and play with this pro. He's going to hit 120-mile-an-hour serves. I'm going to whiff. I'm never going to hit the ball. And then he's going to get disgusted because the game went really fast and it really wasn't worth anything. And I'm going to feel a bit like a fool. What we have a tendency to do is we take somebody that needs to escalate a performance item and try to match them up with somebody that's really good at it. Well, I'd suggest what you need to do is put them with somebody that's just a little bit better. In my tennis example, what I'd look to do is I'd play with the guy down the street who is not so hot, but I can return a few serves. Maybe after a few times we play, I might even be able to have a volley of 3 to 5 or 7 times, and it's fun. And what happens is over a period of time, I improve. Once I do that, maybe he's improved and we both move along, or find some other people that are a little bit better, and you repeat it. And what happens is over a period of time, this could be a period of days, weeks, months, years, depends on what the endeavor is, I get to a point where I'm at least at kind of the hurdle rate for success. When I deal with this guy or gal, I'm intimidated, I'm overwhelmed, I'm frustrated, and it's like, enough. It's called pacer theory, and given the fact, at least in America, perhaps you guys are a lot more patient than we are, but our normal routine, we want to go from there to there, and if it's overnight or maybe a week, that's long enough, that'd be fine. The reality is you need to take these steps and you need to work your way through, and that's why it's so important, because it's progressive and it really allows people to move forward and identify where they're going. Next on the list, mentoring. All of you have got different levels of staff, but they all need some type of coaching program or mentoring. Folks have found that the more time that you spend developing your staff, the higher your retention rate goes, and the more likely people are to have a greater sense of satisfaction with what they're doing. And those that have mentors find out that they end up earning more and they're more successful. We found that programs for women, minorities, or anybody that's in a small element of the group, it's really important for them to be mentored because it provides something that perhaps isn't there because they're in a smaller part of the organization. I'll give you an example of a mentoring moment. I had a guy that joined the firm. He had the top score on the CPA exam in the United States. So he was one really bright guy. He did phenomenal work. He had a bit of a problem. His grammar was atrocious, and he didn't know how to use words. He tried to use a big word because he was smart and he'd heard it, and 9 times out of 10, he used it the wrong way or in the wrong place. Well, needless to say, he wasn't exactly somebody we hurried out to deal with our clients. But somebody that was working with him decided, you know what, this guy is too smart, we're going to spend some time. And what we did is we asked for nagging rights. Nagging rights for us mean that if you do this thing that isn't good, in his case, the way he used words or the way he expressed his ideas, and you're in a comfortable setting, you'd tell him immediately. If it was in a meeting, you wait till the meeting was over, cover it with them alone. So over a period of about 6 months, every time he misspoke, we called him on it. And there were 3 or 4 of us that had that right. And we went through and put him in a position. We said, Frank, you used the wrong word. Frank, you used it the wrong way. Frank, you look kind of foolish because you did this. And he got it. And then he started to ask, so how should I have said it? He hadn't asked that question up until then. Once he started asking the question, you could see that pacer theory. Slowly but surely he got there. Today, he's on our management team. He's probably one of the most successful, well-spoken people that we've got. He wouldn't have gotten there if somebody hadn't taken the time to mentor him. Mentoring and coaching are a little bit different. Coaching is more superior to subordinate, and it's all about performance, and it identifies that supervisory relationship. Mentoring is more of a relationship, and I don't know that you'll find this anyplace other than this book and some thoughts, but we think in order to be a good mentor, you need to be innovative in your thoughts, principled in the intention of what you're covering, in the intent of what you're going to do, and then intentional in the actions that you take. We think it is really impactful if you can be as specific as possible. And I think with mentoring, you have to recognize you're going to make mistakes, your mentee is going to make mistakes, and I think it's really important in order to show the way and identify what could be done and present a little bit of how-to and what people might experience.